And welcome to this edition of the Zija International Business Talks. Typically, this is hosted by Fred Holmes, triple diamond executive with the company, who is currently taking some much needed R&R on an undisclosed island in the South Pacific. So it's a pleasure for me to have the honor to host this meeting with you tonight. My name is Amy McKenzie. I'm an independent distributor with Zija International, and we're going to cover some information tonight so that those of you who are just looking maybe for your first time will get a sense of what this company has to offer and what we're all about. And we're going to look at three key elements. First of all, you want to know who's at the helm, right? Leadership. We want this ship to keep sailing. Number two, you want to know the products have integrity, that they are consumable on a daily basis, and that they really work. And finally, timing. Now, it's great to get into a company that's got a long, long history, but if it's already a household name, you might have missed the optimal timing. So we'll take a look at that. And then finally, we get to introduce one of my favorite people in Zija, Dahm, and she's really literally Zija royalty. She's been a pioneer with this company. She's brought so much to the table, and I can't wait to have you hear her story. Okay, good. Before I begin though, I want to welcome those of you that were invited here tonight, maybe by a friend. It might have been someone who's having a great product experience like I did, and they just want you to experience it. Maybe they've made a check or two and they're excited about the opportunity and what it could do for you. Whatever has you be here, I just want you to know tonight is for you. And, perhaps you have a situation that your life is working, things are great, but there's just something that's a little bit out of place. For me, as a single mom working several jobs, background in theater, there's no money in theater. We were doing okay, but I realized my daughter deserved better than community college. When I saw this opportunity and realized not only was that leadership and the product and all of that in place, but I also was going to have the training and support that I needed. So what I did was I came in with my emergency credit card, jumped on board, followed the system, and then surprised everyone around me because I literally paid back the credit card I purchased my package with in 30 days. Never done this before. So the beauty of it, my daughter, she didn't go to community college. She went to one of the finest private universities in the country, and that wasn't going to happen without this opportunity. So I'm excited to share this in case you may see something for yourself that this could address. So let's go ahead and dig in. And one thing I want to add, I've noticed along the way, more and more people are becoming open to learning about this kind of opportunity. And I think it's for several reasons. For one, it's a very low cost entry. Secondly, you can do it at home, part-time. If you have a phone and an internet, I once was doing business on a sailboat because it had a satellite. Literally, you can do this anywhere. And I think, for someone like me, I needed to wedge it in between my different jobs, right? 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. It didn't happen overnight. It took some time. But by the end of my first year, I had replaced my income. Now, that wasn't a lot of income, but for me, boy, did that relieve a tremendous amount of stress. So I think, what I like about this, there's something for everyone. Maybe you just would like the idea of getting your product for free by sharing it a little bit. Maybe you'd like a little supplemental, a few $100s extra a week. Or like myself, who really had a big goal to fulfill and was able to do so because of the support, training, leadership, and phenomenal products that we have. So let's dig into that. On the product front, or let's start with leadership. We have that in the bag, literally, and it's because of our founder, Ken Brailsford. Now, you may never have heard of Ken, but honestly, he's an icon in both the health and wellness and network marketing industry. And it really comes down to a couple of things. See, Ken has a track record. And when you're looking at a company, you want to know that they've got experience, successful experience, that's got some longevity, that they have integrity, and that what you're looking at will be around a long time. So when you invest yourself in it, you're not nervous about what the future will bring. Ken's track record, in fact, he has probably the best in this profession, is decades long. He started his first company in the 70s. And what's really interesting about it, and this is where he becomes that icon in health and wellness, as I mentioned, it all came about because it was his concept to put herbs in a capsule. He's the father of herbal encapsulation. So if you've ever taken an echinacea, help with your cold or Ginkgo biloba or St. John's wort. You have Ken to thank that he conceived of this. And his company that he formed was Nature's Sunshine. Some of you may have even heard of it. Why? It's still around. 40 some odd years later, billions of dollars in sales, and it's still growing. Then in the 80s, it went on to form another company, Zija International, which is now under the name of Unicity. 30 years, same story, billions of dollars in business, still growing. The man has had an incredibly successful track record. And in fact, he had already done his service to humanity. He was retired when someone came along and gave him a documentary about moringa, which is our flagship product, on the Discovery Channel. And they wanted his help. They wanted him to get involved with him. He said, I've done my time. I'll give this gentleman some advice and send him on his way, until he learned what moringa could do. And he realized this one botanical could do more good for mankind than all the products put together he'd ever created. So he got involved, and that's why Zija International was born. And in his own words, Ken felt spiritually prompted to bring moringa to the world. We literally are first to market. We are the Moringa Company. And this year, 2018, moringa just got named Superfood of 2018. So we are literally on track, and we have the leadership to take us there. And it's not just in terms of product, right? We have an infrastructure in our 11th year that has us look like we're a 40-year-old company. We're 100% vertically integrated. We're literally debt-free, and we are positioned today to go to $1 billion in sales without adding a single brick. We are ready to explode. And let's move into products. We have the products to do that. Now, I won't spend a lot of time on this. I encourage you to connect with Pat Anderson at clubmoringa.com, Wednesdays at 6:30 Pacific. Every week, she's interviewing a different scientist or doctor or expert in their field about these products. But the quick overview, we have 3 main divisions. Our flagship division is the nutrition, all based on moringa. Obviously, we've got a tremendous value there. I like to call it the ultimate nutritional insurance policy. That level of nutrition then inspired a weight management system that is all natural. And as a result, it just supports the body to do what it was built to do. Not only do people release what they need to, but it stays off. They maintain it. And that's what people love about this. There's also skincare. And I'll just tell you one thing about that. We understand now that Cleopatra's beauty secret was very probably based on the moringa seed oil, which is our skincare line's foundation. And it's phenomenal. Guys, they love it too. Then we have our sports fitness line. It's an all-natural sports fitness, to my knowledge, the only one available in the world, and it works. We have athletes from all fields, from NFL, WMA, bodybuilders, weightlifters, Olympic skiers, skaters, track runners, you name it. And they love this product because they don't have to abuse their body with chemicals, but they're getting what they need. They're getting that stamina, that energy. They're getting the ability to recover far more quickly. And they just love it. And we have a product that anyone can use, our Hydrate. Real electrolytes, literally can, well, I know for myself, the difference it's made for me is notable. In so many areas, and it's wonderful. Kids can drink that instead of soda. So that whole sports fitness line is tremendous. And then I'll touch briefly on another area that I'm so excited about, which is our Ameo essential oil line. There's so much to say about these oils, but I'll just tell you a couple things. They are cell permeable and cell active. We are providing the only clinical grade essential oils in the world today available to the commercial market. That equates with the oils that all the scientists created when they created their vetted imperial reviews were based on oils that were created in a clinical setting. It's a huge difference when you can see at the bottom of your bottle the batch number, put it in on your website, and actually see the cell activity of that exact oil. They're absolutely brilliant. I encourage you to look more deeply into that. And we have other products. We have things that you can use for yourself, personal items, toothpaste, shampoo, hair conditioner. You can shop from yourself, get better quality, and be building your business all at the same time. It's a wonderful thing. So I could go on and on about that, but I'll tell you, have some fun, get with the person who invited you and learn more about our tremendous products. They really work. Finally, timing. All I'm going to tell you there, 2018 is our year. 10 years old, well, in our 11th year, as I mentioned before, we're debt free. We are ready to go. What's missing? You are. All that's left now is the distributor organization. We are in over 60 countries around the world. There is nothing to stop you playing at whatever level you want to, because when we become a household name, this will still be a good opportunity, but it won't be what it is now. You can get in before that happens, be risen with that tide, up with that momentum, take advantage of the real explosive growth that we are about to experience in this company. So that's the quick overview. And now the best part of the evening, I want to bring on our special guest. Oh, there's so much to say about Dahm. She's a double diamond executive with the company. She has brought to the table incredible previous experience. And within the company, as I said earlier, really a pioneer. I couldn't even tell you how many states she helped open, countries that she's launched. She's done some of the most beautiful, effective, well-attended events in all of Zija Nation. I'm just thrilled to have you on. Let me bring you over, Ann. And if you would, I'd be very excited for you to share your story with us this evening, if you would. And there she is. Oh, let me unmute Ann, one sec. There we go. There you are. Hi.
Hello, Amy. Thank you so much. It's such a treat to be here with you and your guests this evening. And I'll follow my marching orders from you and get busy and share my story. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay. So, Amy, I was introduced to Zija in August of 2008, but before that had a pretty rough road. In my middle 40s, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. At that time, I had a company, Women's Healthcare Consultants, and I was buzzing about across 38 states. And unfortunately, the fibromyalgia started to slow me down significantly, but things really went downhill when I was diagnosed a few years later with rheumatoid arthritis. As that disease progressed, they just began to add different prescriptions. In fact, first I was put on a steroid, then 2 non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. And if you see the twinkle in my eye through my glasses, the first 2 they put me on were 2 that I used to sell in my big pharma days. So I thought, oh, this is karma coming back. But nonetheless, it just seemed like every 3 months it was what other prescription are they going to add. Eventually, I lost full use of my hands. I could no longer wrap my hand around a leash or a lead rope. This was very important to me. It was breaking my spirit because we rescue dogs and animals. So that was my heart and passion, and it was slowly being taken away from me. About that time as well, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. So my thyroid was becoming infected. I ended up with 14 precancerous tumors on my thyroid. I started the journey of every 2 months going in for needle biopsies because it wasn't if they were going to be cancerous, it was when. And the last blow, I lost the ability to traverse uneven surfaces. If I fell, I could no longer get myself up and right myself. My children would tease I was no longer a weeble that wobbled. So that being said, I was told at 49, I was on 8 prescription drugs at the time, that I probably wanted to make some changes in my lifestyle because in all likelihood, by the time I was 60, I would be in a wheelchair. And I'm going to be 61, Amy. Unfortunately, that's not part of my future, at least not that I'm aware of because of the rheumatoid arthritis. Fortunately, even though the last prescription I was put on was Wellbutrin antidepressant, as you can imagine, I began working with a woman who became a very dear friend of mine and a partner, Dr. Noreen Ziegler. She's a certified nutritional counselor, and we started to figure out where is my body deficient. I was already on a boatload of supplements, but she began to add more. But over the course of time, Amy, with all the supplements I was taking and the prescriptions was wearing me down. Compliance was a problem. I was spending an extra $700+ a month in the supplements. It was not going in the correct direction. Dr. Noreen was my lifeline. In August of 2008, she called me to her office. She had been working with Zija's Moringa and wanted to see how I tested for it. And I tested quite favorably. In fact, that afternoon, I was able to throw all those supplements away and replace them with Zija's Moringa. So Amy, understand I was still taking all of the prescriptions, but there was hope in terms of the compliance department. I thought at least I can try to do this. And I found it unique. As I was doing my due diligence, I was slowly falling in love with this magnificent botanical. And it blessed my body tenfold. I responded within a few months. The swelling and inflammation began to leave my hands. I got full use of my hands back within 3 to 4 months. Within 6 months, I was off all of my prescriptions. And within 2 years, all of the precancerous tumors on my thyroid had disappeared. But the real journey began, Amy, in February of 2010. So remember, I was introduced in August of '08, but in February of 2010, people around me started asking me, Ann, why aren't you sharing this with others? This is a food. You understand it with your background. You're being called to action. Why don't you do anything? And I had to look deep, Amy, and the reason was I didn't want to look like I was selling something or hawking something. I was more worried about what people were going to think than sharing my story. And fortunately, I asked the right questions. I had people supporting me, and I learned something very important, that when I share this with other people, when I get the opportunity to just simply plant the seed and motivate them to do their due diligence and inform themselves, I don't have to worry about someone thinking that I'm bettering my own financial coffers at their expense, when in fact what I learned, I'd never seen anything like this before, that I can share this with others, introduce them to this. The company will pay me a finder's fee, a referral fee, call it what you like. I call it a thank you bouquet, and not charge those people anymore. In other words, we pay exactly the same as the people we refer this to, but yet the company says, hey, thank you. And every month thereafter that they continue to consume it, the company continues to reward us and say thank you. And I was blown away by that, Amy. And what I did is I stepped out of myself. I got over myself. I did what I needed to do. When something like this happens in your life, you have to do that. You're called to service. I would have lived the rest of my life in a wheelchair. I'm so blessed to be able to share this with others. But what I quickly realized, all of a sudden, it was easy for me to share it with 10, 20, 30. Suddenly my income was well over $1,000 a month. And Amy, I'm not even talking into the second month. And normally people don't share that, but I do. Within 8 months, I was into 6 figures, and all I had done is what I was called to do: let others know about this and put them in the right direction. But number 2, by May of 2010, I realized I get to show them how to do the same thing so they can cover their cost. And I learned the power of 2 from, in fact, Fred Holmes, that if we just all shared this with 2 and encouraged and moved others to do that, just one person could reach over 4,000 people in 13 or 14 months. That's why I've been able to traverse the United States and go into areas of the world that I never thought, Amy, I would be in. So it's been a journey that's been marvelous for me. It's been kind of the explanation point, because I do know with my background that nutrition is so key. You know, the top 10 killers are directly related to the food that we put in our mouth. But what so often people don't know is the top 4 killers are stress related. And the number 1 stressor here in the United States is financial. And it is not getting any better. You add to that, people are part-time jobs, second jobs, to put their kids through school, to be able to meet all the financial needs. And suddenly I found that I truly was able to show people the path to true health and wellness by also helping them with their financial health and wellness. And that is a really big deal, Amy, and it's a rewarding thing when you can show, even just one person can walk away from a part-time job so they can have more time with their family. If you get to do that one time in your life has been well worth it. And that's the journey that this magnificent company sent me on, and I'll continue as long as I can.
Oh, it's marvelous. Thank you so much, Anne, for sharing that. It's
Thank you.
such a moving story. Yeah, to be inspired because of the difference it made for you, and then want to make that difference for other people. It's so authentic. And I thank you so much for sharing that. And also how simple it is. We're really just looking for a couple people that want what we want. And then we share genuinely our experience. And so
It's
you
the
really
power
framed
of
that
2.
up. Yeah,
It's
beautifully.
the power of 2. Yes.
Let me ask you something. You know, you've been in this company, like I said, really a pioneer. And thank you for all you've done. You've given me tremendous training. You've taught me a lot along the way that's really benefited me. And here we are in 2018. You've seen so much. there's so much to choose from now. What excites you the most of what we have to offer in going forward?
Oh gosh, Amy, I mean, there's so much. It's just a cornucopia of delightful things that they keep producing for us. It's amazing, and it's there to provide and fit everybody's area of interest and needs, and always knowing, as you said so eloquently, Amy, I mean, these products are second to none. It begins with the integrity and honor that every single one of them are infused with. So it is a privilege to be able to stand alongside this company. But boy, what I'm excited about is the water filtration system. And let me explain. It's called More Claire, Amy. As you well know, it's a home water filtration system. And I got to tell you, this has got my heart singing songs of joy. My background, you might not know this, Amy, my degree was water pollution. So I was inspired as a little girl. I used to grow up watching National Geographic documentaries, and I always noticed so frequently, where the women were having to wash the clothes because they didn't have the washing machines, and they would use the local rivers, and they'd be washing the clothes. The kids would be swimming. There's always an animal upstream, and you knew what was going to be happening and what was going to be coming downstream. And I was obsessed about that. I thought, oh man, that water, that is not good. The other thing that coupled with that to inspire me to go into water, preservation and pollution, and let's save this planet, is right here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We have 3 magnificent rivers. And I grew up looking at these pictures that my parents shared of them playing in the rivers and using the waterways. And they became polluted and we couldn't anymore. And that's why I followed that passion. It led me to health and nutrition because obviously the most important thing we can provide to ourselves is water. We've been talking about nutrition, but the yin and yang of that, you have nutrition provided by food, but the nutrition that a single molecule of water can provide, what a good molecule could do and what, deleterious, hazardous ones could do. So to think that all these years ago when I was studying water pollution, we were introduced to this tree. I had no idea it was moringa. I knew the seed of the tree. That is what they were using in indigenous cultures for centuries to purify their water. Come to find out all these years later, Amy, that it was moringa. And to now know that the company not only has provided the amazing food of this magnificent tree, but they've taken it a step further to infuse our water, to purify our water with an enzymatically living, nutritional, botanical. This is extraordinary, the likes that nobody has ever seen. So I'm going to get back on that soapbox again this year and let as many people as I can know about the power of Claire and why every single one of them needs to have this in their home. Extraordinary what this is going to be able to do. It's revolutionizing the home purification system for water. Extraordinary.
Yeah, this is the first time ever that an actual living botanical filter has been available with a water purification system. Is that right?
It is, correct. I mean, this thing is enzymatically living. There are so many videos that people can see with Dr. Plant and others around the Zija Nation to see how they're purifying, all the indicators that you want to be aware of. And, when we're purifying the water, Amy, it's not just making it the best drinkable, consumable water for us, but not at the detriment of the environment. Right. And oftentimes people don't understand that with even these home filtration systems. So once again, they didn't miss a point, a consideration. They're utilizing and giving honor to this magnificent tree and blessing us all in the process. So I've never looked back, and I'm just looking ahead. It's extraordinary what we have to look forward to.
Thank you so much, Ann. I feel blessed to have had you on the call. You're just so
Amy,
clear.
always a pleasure to be with you. You're one of a kind. We're blessed to have you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know the whole audience is applauding right now. And now I just have to figure out how to get you back here. Give me 1 sec. Here we go. And we'll take you back on over. All right. Thanks so much, Ann. And somewhere in here. Oh, there we go. Thank you so much. And so as we close out this evening, you've heard, actually just a very little bit of information. There's so much good news about this company. We went over the leadership, some of the products, the incredible timing. I encourage you to get back with whoever invited you to this call. Get the information you need. Get your questions answered. Watch some of those videos. And in fact, there's some great things to plug into. I mentioned Wednesday nights, clubmoringa.com with Pat Anderson. That's a wonderful way to learn more. We have this business talk this coming Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll be doing a fast start training for new distributors, give you kind of an idea of what to do, what not to do. I'll have a special guest on with me, Reed Nelson, who's a major VIP in the network marketing profession, sharing some of his thoughts on how to get started. Please feel free to join us for that. And we're just so happy that we have within us spearheading the natural health revolution. Please join us if you'd like. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a great, great night.